Hello, everybody. Welcome to Midwest Outcast podcast. We're very happy that you're here joining us. As you can see, this is a video podcast. We're gonna throw in some video ones, might just do some audio ones, but this is all a new experience for us, so we're glad you're here. First off, my name is Joey Chaddick. I am from a small town in Nebraska, very small town, less than 300 people, and born and raised in the Midwest, and I'm still here. And it's been an adventure, which you guys will get to hear all about it. So I currently work as a clinical social worker here in Nebraska, about 15 minutes away. So being from a small town, I have to commute. I've been in clinical social worker for about 2 years now, and I also work in hospice and end-of-life care. And then as a fun little side gig, I am a travel agent. I started that in about 2019, I think August. So I think it's going to be like 4 years next month.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Which is crazy to think about it, but now that I can think about it, I feel like I've done a lot of traveling in just those 4 years, more so than I've done in my life. So I just love planning adventures for myself, and I thought, if we can do this for other people, why not? So really fun thing to do. And I got my master's in social work, where that is where I met Katlin. We went to grad school together. Good old UNO, go Mavericks. And we went through the grind together, and graduated, and kind of have stayed in touch, getting out into the professional world. So we kind of just wanted to hop on, and just kind of talk more about certain things that we feel like are really important topics, and wanted to just share that with you guys. So thanks for joining in, and I'm glad we got to do this.
Yes. So I'm going to jump in. My name is Katlin Liss. I'm originally from a small town, but it is bigger than Joey's.
I feel like any town is probably bigger than mine. I feel like I don't think we're like dead central Nebraska. We're like south central, I think, but I feel like all of my friends live in bigger cities than me. So you win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. It's up in northeast Nebraska, about, 1,200 people, I would say it was. How many did you graduate with?
I graduated with, I think, 15 in my class.
15?
15.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2011, so over 10 years, which definitely makes me feel old, but also it's crazy to think about that it's been that long.
Yeah. So I graduated in 2009 with 44.
Again, I feel like all of my friends have more people in their class. It just makes me very unique, I feel like.
Yes, I suppose so.
Crazy, I guess.
But anyways, so I was not born in Nebraska. Crazy fact. I was actually born in Colorado, but moved when we were 2 and just ever since. So I basically call Nebraska home.
Right. Wow.
So currently I live in a small town close to Lincoln, Nebraska, where I currently work there at a forensic hospital. I too am a clinical social worker, and I primarily work with individuals with different mental illnesses, ranging from depression to the good old schizophrenia, which isn't as scary as anyone thinks it is.
Right. People
it's
do
kind of
get
common.
the word for sure.
Yes. And I also work with like different personality disorders too. I haven't ran into the DID, which if we want to go into those different diagnoses down the road, we certainly can. But right now we won't.
I think everybody needs a little personality education just to get to know that they're not really as scary as people make them out to be. But
Right.
you work with a lot of hard, complex cases for sure. I do a lot of like older adults, which people are like, oh, older adults, they stink. I get that all the time. I'm like, okay, fair. They can stink, but so can you. I mean, right?
You're going to be that old adult someday. So
Right.
let's think
So
about that.
don't come to me when you have mental illnesses when you're old, I guess. And I feel like it's been a challenge just because I feel like when I think about older adults needing mental or having like a mental illness, I automatically go to like cognition, right? Oh, they have dementia,
Mhm.
Alzheimer's, whatever. But I mean, I've seen that, of course. I started out in long-term care working in nursing homes, and then ended up now in the behavioral health realm, working for an outpatient behavioral health program. And it's great. I mean, I love it. Still going to do with the older adults, but it's definitely tough for sure. Having to like educate families on the possibility of their loved one having dementia and stuff. I mean, it's not fun, but so it makes us great clinicians, I feel.
Yes, I agree. But well, with clinical social work in Nebraska, we can also do social work duties as well as therapy, which is really nice to be able to do a variety of different things. So if I'm like, I don't like to do social work, I can go and be a therapist
Yeah,
and
right.
vice versa.
Right. And I think that's what makes it so like unique is we started out in social work,
Mhm.
and then got our masters in clinical social work, which made it to where we can do a little bit more advanced skills like therapy. But I think social work will always be our baby, right? We can always have it to
Yes.
fall back on and leave.
Yes.
We can grow up and go out into the adulting social work world, I guess we can call it.
Yes. So that leads me into my next thing is that since Joey and I are licensed therapists, we are not providing any therapy while doing this podcast. However, we will be touching on different things as we go regarding therapy practices, mental illnesses, all that good stuff. If you guys do need someone though to talk to, you can reach out to us and we could provide those resources to you as part of our social work,
Yes,
providing
part of
resources
our
and
duties,
connecting
right?
you. Yes.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I want to touch on is like the whole like licensure of clinical social work. Caitlin obviously is fully licensed. I'm still a baby. I'm still provisionally licensed. The board exam that could be a whole nother topic of discussion.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, I'll admit it, I'm on round three, getting ready for round three in a couple weeks actually. Um, and it's tough. That's one thing in grad school. Like we took like some, I guess, some prep stuff like in grad school, but it wasn't like a sit down class. I think that'd be something to maybe like offer like an aftercare program, right? But like something
Right.
like in grad school, you think about that. um, and Caitlin came across a program that was so great. And so that's kind of what I did. And it's been really life changing, really. I mean, so helpful. And, I'm hoping that third time's a charm, right? So I
Yes.
think that's the tough part. But I've always had terrible test anxiety. And that's one of our topics we're going to talk about is like test anxiety and just that can kind of go into the discussion there. I mean, it's cruel for some people, and I feel like I've always struggled with it. And I think that's probably one of my partial kind of limitations that we're kind of going through. But one of my I have a friend that's a clinician as well, and I'm gonna do like a little hypnosis.
Ooh, that'll
Yeah,
be interesting.
I know. Have you done one?
Um, in high school for like our senior, no, yeah, senior prom, we had a hypnosis come in. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it. I've never done like we had them, I guess, in high school and stuff. I'd never like really did it. But yeah, so she's like, I totally helped other therapists. It takes like 20 minutes and then like we record it and then you can like listen to it like at night and stuff. So I'm like kind of excited because I think this would be very helpful.
Well, it's something different. Might as well try it. You
Right.
never know.
I haven't tried it yet, and at this point, like I'm open to all suggestions to put this chapter behind me. So
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. You will do it.
yes. Do you want to share what other kind of fun things you have kind of coming up during this kind of first season? I guess we can call it.
Yes. Yes, first season. So we're going to also talk about travel ideas in Nebraska, like what there is to see and things like that.
Yeah.
Actually, while I was coming home, I just remembered when I was a junior in high school, I literally did a speech, informative speech for speech, about things that came out in Nebraska.
Dig it up, find the archives.
I know, I know. It
That's
was a
fun.
great.
There's a lot of like secret, not secretive, but like little things in Nebraska that people might not know about.
Mhm.
Of course, we'll throw in some other fun like destinations as well. I mean, because why not? I mean, might as well. But Nebraska is pretty cool. I mean, we are the good life state, right? I mean, go Big Red. So that's gonna be a fun topic. And then another topic we want to kind of bring up is just kind of like our younger selves, right? Like,
Mhm.
what would you tell your younger self? And I never really thought about it until obviously maybe becoming a clinician, right? When we're maybe working with clients, but there's just so many things now looking back, like what you would tell like your younger self. It doesn't be like 2-year-old Caitlin or 5-year-old Caitlin, but like 13-year-old, like whatever you
Mhm.
feel. But I think that's a really, really cool topic that I think I'm excited about.
Yep, yep, that one. And also, like, I want to talk about grief and
Yeah,
how to work through that. Not necessarily, the typical grief of someone passing away, but like just grief that we experience day to day, such as like moving on with relationships, regardless that if that's like friendships or boyfriend girlfriend type of situation, just
jobs.
how to navigate that because life is hard. Being a human
Right.
is tough.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But like grief also can be, yeah, like jobs, right? Leaving a job and going to
Mhm.
another one, like especially if you've been there for a long time. Like when I left my first job out of college, I was there for like 4.5 years. It was super tough. Like I was ready to go for sure, but so tough. I mean, I got attached so hard to those residents that I worked with. Like it was so tough. And I tried to stay in touch as much as I could afterwards, but also try to like, keep my peace and like kind of keep myself out of that just because it was kind of tough for me to leave. But grief is, I'm gonna say it, grief's a bitch, right? Like it's
Yes.
tough. And
Yes.
I always think of it as like the ocean a little bit, how like there's gonna be waves, and they're not always gonna be super high. Like it's gonna go up and then it's gonna come down and they're gonna be like
Mhm.
they're gonna level out. But sometimes those waves are gonna be crazy huge and it's gonna be like, how am I gonna get over this? Am I gonna fall in the water and drown? Not necessarily, right? Like I use that like algorithm, or I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like I use that a lot with clients, and obviously working with older adults, grief is a big topic and it's tough. So I think that will be a tough one probably to discuss for us, I feel, but also it's definitely needed, the education out there for sure.
Yes, yes. And also just the topic of feelings in general too.
Oh yeah.
I've learned that I needed to validate my feelings in order to move forward in some situations. And I feel like that goes hand in hand with grief too.
Right, for sure. And I think another topic too of just talking about like therapy in general, like we said in the beginning, like we're not here to provide, therapeutic skills and just do a therapy session for you all, but just normalizing therapy in general. Like it's totally okay to go. Like no one's gonna know that you're there, right? I mean, there's confidentiality pieces with that, but it's just super important, and going on your own terms is even better, versus waiting until, you might be forced to go or something. But I mean, I've been going to therapy since I was like, I don't know, 11, 12, off and on really like throughout high school. But then like in college, the college I went to offered like free therapy sessions. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it's free. When you're in college, you're broke, right? Broke college student. So getting anything for free, I was like, absolutely, and even if going to talk to somebody, I know it's hard to believe that I was very shy, I didn't really like to talk as much then. I was very closed-minded, didn't want to share like my thoughts, feelings, anything. But it was so helpful. And I saw her like all 3 years that I was there at that college. and then she had left, and I stuck with her for, I mean, until like almost recently, like a couple years ago. I mean, and it's great,
Mhm.
and I think it's totally worth it. Therapy can totally be fun if you allow it to be.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree.
It's tough though. I mean, and I think it's just tough. I think probably just to go for the first time, like telling yourself, like, all right, I'm gonna go to therapy, right? I mean, it's totally tough. I totally get it. So, yeah. What other topics do you have coming up? I'm kind of like drawing a blank.
Me too. But but I I'm sorry everyone. This is just we're just gonna be so random tonight. We tried to go on a script, but let's be honest, script
Yeah,
we're not good about
we're
following
not
script.
actors, right? I'm terrible at memorization. I can recall when I was in high school, I didn't do like one act or anything like that, but we had like a local community theater, which in fact is still kicking. It's still like in formation, or whatever you want to call it. And we have like our local hometown celebration, right? I'm sure like all towns have one.
Oh
And
yeah.
I feel like ours is like the longest running one in Nebraska, I think. I don't know. I should probably know that, but I think it is. And they used to do like little melodramas, like short little plays, skits. And I was like, oh, I'll totally do it. Like, how fun. Like, my family and friends will get to see me like acting, how fun. And I totally bombed like my first line and said one that was like halfway through, and it threw everybody off. And I still think about that to this day. And I've done a little acting like in the community theater since then, but I still like go back to that. Like, memorization is hard. So yeah, scripts, we try to have one to stick with it, but it's totally going to be random. And you
Well,
know
and you don't want us to be sitting here reading
yeah,
word for word. Like, how fun would that be?
like, here we go. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe when we can be professionals and we can get out in the big world and can consider ourselves maybe that we're like made, I don't know, then we can go that. But we're all here just to have fun. We're from the Midwest, outcast, right? We feel like we could be a little outcast at times. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I want to put it on you either, but for sure.
Yes.
um yeah, that's another one.
But so what I was gonna bring up is how Nebraska is going to have a professional volleyball team
Oh
in
my god.
Omaha.
Yes, I just actually got back from Texas and I watched the USA play in Texas. And first off, it was hot in Texas, which I mean, of course, I know it is, but literally, like, I walked outside, my sunglasses fogged up. It was so humid. I was like, wow. I mean, great. I mean, I love the warmth. Like, I feel like I could do without the snow, honestly. Like, I know I'm from Nebraska,
Me
whatever,
too.
but it was super hot, but so fun. I got to watch like other countries play, like China, Turkey. Turkey actually won the whole tournament. So, so good. I mean, the USA, I'll always be a diehard USA fan, and they were great. Just getting to see them play like in person versus like watching
Mhm.
them like on TV or on YouTube or wherever. And there was two like Husker alum on the roster. So that was really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited for this pro volleyball league. I think that's going to be super cool. And there's going to be an ex Husker on that roster, Jeannie Mancuso.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that'll
and
be exciting.
that will be exciting. I think super fun for her. Like, get to play like, because she's from, I think, like Papillion, Elkhorn, like that area. So truly like in her backyard and Nebraska. So I think it'll be a great experience for her. And I'm excited just to see volleyball grow. I think is so cool because all the athletes having to go overseas is tough, especially if right out of college, like you're leaving home, obviously the first time you go to college, and then now you have to go how many other miles away overseas just to play professional, and now you can
Mhm.
do it in the States. So that's super fun.
Yes, I can't wait for it just to see how it goes.
Right. And they're going to play at the CHI in Omaha. So obviously like one of the bigger venues in Omaha. And that's really cool for Omaha, I think, to, get to host right there. It's a great location right in the like old market area. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it'll be fun. And they have like 12, I think, home games like in Omaha. So I mean that's a great, I think they have
Wow.
like 12 home and like 12 away, and I don't I haven't like looked into it too much. I should because everybody knows I'm a diehard volleyball fan. But I think there's like four or five other cities in the US that are hosts as well. So I think they'll probably just like go to those areas. I think like Atlanta is one. I think San Diego. Yeah, I'm only gonna say those two for sure. I don't want to like random off any other ones, but I feel like there's a Florida one, maybe Orlando,
Hmm.
and I feel like Michigan, maybe, and maybe Texas, maybe. So great like other venues and great other cities to go to as well. So yeah, it'd be super fun. Maybe we should go and do like a live podcast from there or something.
That we would be carrying our mics and our computers in.
Yeah, here we go. We're part of the media.
Yes.
um, I think, and then the other topic that I think um, I want to bring up is being part of the LGBTQ community. I think for a long time I was not scared to like talk about it, but I felt like it wasn't necessary. I don't know why. I feel like there's always expectations, I feel like, right? And I'll talk about this
Yeah.
more obviously in that episode, but I sort of felt pressured in a way to come out. And I didn't do it until I was like in my 20s, but I felt like it was more so like when I joined like the professional world, like I feel like a lot of people obviously already knew, even from a young age, whatever. But as I got into college, into grad school, then being out of grad school, I felt like I needed to kind of share it. I don't know. It sounds weird, but I did, and it went over fine. But I obviously know that I'm obviously one of the very lucky ones because I know how other people have been treated. And I think that's partially why I never did it earlier too, not knowing like if anything would have happened, if there would have been any hate or anything like that. But yeah, so I'm excited to kind of talk about that a little bit. I think that's going to be like one of the next ones that we're going to talk about. So I'm excited for that.
Mm.
And just kind of share my journey really. I mean, I can't even, I feel like it might have been like right before I started grad school even. I'll have to look and see. Like I don't really even remember because I feel like it's a lifetime ago. I mean, grad school I feel like was a lifetime ago.
When really it wasn't.
When really it wasn't.
Well, but
And
still.
yeah, and shocker, news alert, top news, I'm going back to school. I mean, doesn't the diehard Joey fans that will watch this, shout out, they will know that this is not anything shocking to them. Um, I always would tell people that I would go to school forever if it was free because I love to learn. I like feel like I would like transfer to go to like different schools in the US, international. If it was free just to take classes, how fun would that be? But you have to have money probably to do that, to travel that far. But yeah, so not that I have anything against social work. Love what I do, but I love working in healthcare. I mean, the healthcare industry obviously is ever changing. There's always going to be changes with it. And so I'm getting my master's in healthcare administration. So just to kind of better my knowledge in the healthcare industry, I feel like, and working for a hospital, I feel like there's always going to be changes, but just learning more about it and the operation side of it. You know, math's not my skill, why I became a social worker, right?
Right. Yes.
So that will be kind of interesting to just kind of learn the operation side of it and numbers and all that fun stuff. So I'm actually excited for it, but we'll see. Another adventure, right?
One that I'm not jealous of, but that's great for you. I'm
Yeah,
proud of you for that.
yes, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
I'm like proud of myself actually to like take the like initiative to do it because I was like, oh, I'm done with school, never doing this again. Like I knew after undergrad I was gonna go back to school. Like I knew I wanted to get my master's, whatever. And then like, middle of grad school, like let's be real, second year of grad school was tough. Um, I felt like for me anyway, I shouldn't speak for you, but for me, I felt like super tough. It's like when we had like those three classes and practicum, like it was just felt like it was a lot all at once. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. Like, I'm super done with it. Like, I honestly even looked like other programs to switch to. in that second year. Um,
Oh no.
yeah, like I was super done. And then I just had to come to Jesus, talk with myself, I guess, and push through. And here we are. But we're going back. So, but it was a different program back then too. So, like, I wasn't looking at healthcare administration back then. So,
It's
but
true.
I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then I go and do it. And then it's just like, fly on the wall. That's how it
Right.
is.
I think I'm done with school. I did have a little twinge of wanting to do my doctorate. However, once we did the research class, I was like,
That's
no.
it. That's the same thing. Yeah, I did a little teaching stint last semester, which I have no idea. Like, I know how it came about, obviously, but like I never envisioned myself as a teacher or a professor. Um, and yeah, I'm probably won't do it again. I mean, I it was great experience. Like I'm so glad I had the networking opportunities with my undergrad program, and that's who I did it with. I taught, and it was an aging class, like an aging adult class. So obviously I had experience with it. I took the class as an undergrad.
So did I at UNK.
Oh yeah, whoops. Oh, this way. Whoops. It's been a long time. Okay,
A long time.
a long time. Yeah, so I think that's the only reason why I did it was I was familiar with it a little bit. And then I had a great co-teacher. She was my advisor during undergrad. I mean, super great. But I went down there and they're like, we'll totally support you if you get your doctorate. And I was like, thank you. But I can't, like, with the research, like, don't get me wrong, like I love researching, like if I have to do it for work or something, like if like I really need to work research
Right.
this topic, right, or something, I'm not gonna sit in a lab with like a white lab coat and injecting things into mice and stuff like that. Like, don't sign me up for that, you know?
Do you think that they're really sitting in a lab with lab coats?
Oh, for sure. I I saw that at UNK when I in the biology
Oh,
department. Yeah, I worked as like a work study in one of the testing offices and I delivered exams to different departments, which was great because it was a great way to like learn the different departments and stuff. But yeah, I
mhm.
tracked in all these professors and I remember going there and I had like go into the lab and yeah, they totally was wearing a white coat. I didn't see no mice. I would have ran because mice are not my thing, but I just envisioned that piece. Like, you know how all the research articles are like, we tested this on mice and all that, you know. I don't know. Mice could be close to humans, I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
sure, but I don't think like the social work aspect
I know that's what I mean,
would
but
be
I feel like social work researchers or philosophers, whatever you want to call them, I feel like they still could wear lab coats. I still think so. Let's take a field trip. I don't know where, but we can find this out. But that's a big thing of the doctorate programs is there is research or like the thesis or like dissertation. Yeah.
yes.
My friend's mom got her doctorate and love her to death. That she told me it was like 300 pages and I about vomited. I was like, no.
No.
During grad school, we wrote like what was like a 30 page or something in grad school,
Yeah, something.
something like that. And
Yeah,
I mean
I
that
don't
was
know.
that was a lot. That was already a lot then. And then adding 300 more, like no way. But it's over like a 2 year span, but still,
But
I mean,
still, do you want to continuously be working on the same paper for 2 years?
no, I don't think there's enough wine for that.
Or Golden Girls
Or
rerun?
Golden Girls reruns. Yes. Gotta love Golden Girls. Speaking of Golden Girls, the new Dorothy Hallmark ornament was released this weekend. And this is the last one. She's the last one to be released. The other three have been released and they no longer sell them. And somehow I got started buying them at the right time because I have the other three. I just need Dorothy. So I'm gonna have to like find her and get that. But yeah, they like say things like you can there's a little button they like talk. It's the best. So when you little pick me up, I just press it and it just great.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I
So
love The Office, so that's my
See, and I've watched it, but I didn't really get into it. Like, I feel like I don't know. When did it start? Like, how old were we like when it started? Because I mean,
I
you're only 2 years older than me, so like you're not like
yeah, it
super
started
old.
when I was 2. No, I don't know when it really started because I didn't start watching it until like it was finished because it was like on Netflix. So
Uh,
that's when I started watching it.
okay. Yeah, I think I've probably seen a couple episodes, but yeah, I'm not a super diehard. Same thing with Friends. Like people are like so big into Friends. I've seen plenty of Friends episodes, but like don't put me in a Friends trivia because I'm probably not gonna know like a lot. But throw me in a Golden Girls trivia, and you all better watch out. I'm gonna come for that cheesecake.
Yeah,
uh, yeah, I think that's the other thing too. There's been so many new shows out too, like from when we were kids. Like obviously when we were kids, we watched like, Barney the dinosaur and like Mr. Rogers. Did you ever get into Mr. Rogers?
I do remember that.
And I have a good collection of cardigans, and my friends
Oh,
used to call me Mr. Rogers all the time.
well, when you're a social worker therapist, you have to have a collection of cardigans. My husband is absolutely annoyed whenever I buy a new cardigan.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I could probably have one. Like I have like two small like coat closets, I guess you call them. I don't know, in your hallway, whatever. Hallway closets, whatever. And I feel like half of it is filled with cardigans. And it is what it is, but they're great to wear them in the office when you're cold or when you're documenting, because social
Right.
workers don't document at all. But yeah, cardigans, that's Mr. Rogers, all I think about. But that was a great show. I remember like getting up 7 a.m. every morning for school, and I would watch an episode of Mr. Rogers, an episode of Barney the dinosaur.
That's hilarious. I would watch the Rugrats on
Rugrats.
Nickelodeon.
Yes, my family for our hometown celebration again, bringing that back. They had like a kiddie parade, and my cousins and my siblings and I would always like be in it when we were kids. And my cousin, she's like super artistic, like very creative, and she like made all these costumes for us. We were the Rugrats, and my sister obviously was Angelica, and I think she could fit the Angelica part like in real life. Only like girl cousin, so typically spoiled. Was like when she was a kid, she still is, and she's like 20, 25 now, still spoiled. I mean, I think it's just being the girl. But so yeah, we put her like in this like carriage thing. I remember, and I had like carry her. She's like on like a throne, and I was Chucky, of course. I had like a red afro wig. Like I'll have to dig up a picture.
That's even better.
Yeah. Rugrats was great. And they tried to bring it back a couple of times. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they had like a 3D like show or something, and it was kind of creepy, but
Yeah.
it was interesting.
I was just thinking while you brought up small town celebration, I think that could be an episode where we talk about different small town celebrations
Yeah.
because mine, I have to explain it to people. So I'm going to give a little shout out to my hometown, Creighton, Nebraska, up in Northeast Nebraska, but they're known as the Berry Pepper Days.
Berry
Yes,
pepper.
yes. Okay, so I have to explain this to everyone. What do you think a berry pepper is?
I feel like it's a spicy berry.
No, that's what everyone thinks. No, it is like Dr. Pepper syrup, strawberry pop, and you freeze it.
Okay, that sounds fire.
Yes. So, and if I'm not correct, which I know I am correct, but if I'm not correct, please tell me and I'll update that when we talk about the town celebration. But I have to explain it what it is. And then I also have to explain that because when I went to UNK, someone asked me where I was from and I said Creighton and they're like, "Well, why did you come here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, why did you transfer from Creighton University to UNK?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Creighton is a town up in Northeast Nebraska." So
I think I've like
forever,
been through there before, but
what?
I think I've been through there before, but I've never heard of berry pepper days. But that is funny that people
Mhm.
thought that you transferred from Creighton University.
Yes. So I have to explain that Creighton is not by Omaha. In fact, it is up in Northeast Nebraska.
Great. Wow. Yeah, so my hometown celebration, so it's called Popcorn Days, right? Shout out North Loop, Nebraska. And yeah, I feel like it's the longest celebration in Nebraska. I will also do my research. We love our research and check it out. But yeah, it's been going on, I feel like since like 1901, I feel like.
Oh boy.
I think that's what it was. Again, I'll do my research. But I mean, we have a lot of events that go on. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, jam packed. We have a great committee that puts things on. And it's so fun. Free popcorn all weekend long. We have a popcorn plant here in North Loop. We sell popcorn around the state, and then also like a lot of people like buy it online. Um, Fun fact, I'm also on the planning and zoning committee in this lovely town. Um, yeah, so fun. We meet like not very much, but our popcorn plant here, they're actually gonna build a new plant. And so it's really fun now to be like on that side of things and get to kind of see it, but it's gonna be really, really cool. Like the kernels that come in like burlap sacks and like they sew those, not themselves, probably like a machine, but it's a great operation. So that would be fun to like get to go there and like check that out. But yeah, so obviously mine's not as confusing as yours because popcorn days, obviously, but it's super fun, super fun.
That's
So
good.
yeah, that's gonna be another thing talking about our hometowns, right? Obviously you don't live in your hometown anymore. I obviously do, but I did leave for about 3.5 years. So shout out to those 3.5 years where I learned that I love being from a small town. uh, but yeah, I mean, I never envisioned myself coming back here. I always thought like once I left for college, that was it. I'm done. I mean, I'll come back and visit, obviously, because I have a lot of family here. My parents obviously still live here. One of my siblings lives here. My other sibling lives like 30 minutes away, so not very far. My grandparents live here. My great grandparents lived here until they passed. My other grandma, who is turned 100 in January, shout out to you, Grandma. She transitioned into the nursing home. I don't know, almost maybe a year ago now. I don't know, but she lived at home until she was 99 for sure.
Oh wow. Good
Yeah,
for her.
yeah. She just love her to death. She thinks I'm a doctor, and she has thought I was a doctor. And you all know I'm not a doctor. I don't practice as a doctor, anything like that. So don't come for me. I don't give any doctor advice to anybody, but her, I will kind of talk with her, and I obviously know her doctor very well. One of my cousins who is like a sister to me, her and my sister are like 17 days apart, so we've always just been more like siblings. She really is a nurse. And my grandma always thought that I was the doctor and she was the nurse, but I'm like, no, she really is a nurse. And so my grandma now will know that, but she still thinks I'm the doctor. Like even at the nursing home, we're like, can you call the doctor? And like, no, the doctor is busy. No, Dr. Joe. Like,
Oh.
and so they did. They literally called me and they're like, she says you want to call. I'm like, oh my lord. So that was a fun story to tell. But I mean, I'm not gonna break her 100-year-old heart. Like, what do you do? So yeah, she doesn't ask like super hard questions, but it's cute. But she lived here, until then. And I mean, I have lots of aunts and uncles that still live here. My best friend moved back. Um, I think I was living here, but like she went away for college, found her husband, got her husband to move here, like great work. And so she moved back. Um, and so that was really cool. So I have great support here, but I do see myself leaving again at some point. I mean, I love being from a small town, but obviously I have to find a husband somewhere, and can't find it here. So I feel like, and I don't foresee myself going to find somebody and say, hey, this moved back to BFE, Nebraska. Like, it's going to be a hard,
Exciting.
yeah, it's going to be a hard sell, I feel like, but I'm willing to try. So I just don't want to end up like the Golden Bachelor. Did you see that? Do you watch
No,
The Bachelor or Bachelorette?
no,
You've heard of it, right?
it's been years since I really watched it.
Okay, well now they're having the Golden Bachelor. And what do you think like that means?
I'm thinking like 50.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up the picture and see if you can see it because he's 71, but he's like
Oh,
a silver fox. Like I would apply to go on the show if they would let me. Like I'm like he does not look 71, but like maybe he's had plastic surgery. I don't know. But
Botox.
Botox probably. But yeah, they're having this like Golden Bachelor, and I was like, oh my lord. Okay, I'm not gonna show the guest because I'm gonna find out. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
See your reaction. Um, but yeah, I was like, holy cow, like I hope he finds a wife. I mean, if not, then I'll slide on in there. But also he lost his high school sweetheart 6 years ago. So I'm like,
Oh,
that's tough. So maybe we can offer him some grief support. We'll send him our podcast episode
about grief. Yes.
about grief.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Holy cow.
71.
He doesn't look like he has a wrinkle.
I know you can have some of mine.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
so it's gonna be like the franchise that we all know, like the Bachelor and Bachelorette, but it's gonna be like for older like adults. Like, and I think that's so fun because everybody deserves love, whether you're 12, I mean, oh, that's a little young. Okay, 15, 16 and up. I mean, I was not in love when I was in 12, but maybe some people were.
I was boy crazy since I was like 5. So my sisters would tease me about like this high schooler that I had a crush on when I was 5. Okay.
Terrible. My older cousin, she's like 4 years older than me, and I don't know if she knows the story, and if she's gonna watch this, she's gonna find out. But we were pretty inseparable growing up. She lived with my grandparents, my great grandparents. They lived like, I'm not good with directions, like 4 to 5 blocks from my parents' house. I mean, North Loop is super small, so we could walk anywhere in 5 minutes probably. But anyway, lived super close. And so when we were growing up, we were like inseparable. Going over, I would be over there all the time, whatever. Well, as she got older into high school, obviously she had boyfriends and she was in sports and she was busy. Um, well, she was downstairs. The basement was like her little oasis, her bedroom. She had her own bathroom, walk-in closet. She just had it all down there. Well, the phone rang upstairs and she's like, can you grab the phone? Like, whatever. And so I grabbed it. And at that point, I remember like we were arguing, like I was mad at her for something, who knows what. And it was one of her boyfriends.
One.
I mean, okay, she wasn't a skank, but it was a boyfriend of hers at the time. Okay. And I answered and he thought it was her, which I mean, I do have a feminine voice, I guess. And he's like, hey babe, what's up? Like I can remember it. And I just like went off on him and I broke up with him on the phone. It was like one of the best times of my life, honestly. And if you're listening now, like I'm really sorry, but you're married now and you're happy, like whatever. But yeah. And
It was young love.
young love, right? And I remember at that point, then I knew like she probably was gonna find out and be really upset. So I just told my grandparents I was gonna walk myself home, that I was ready to go home. I mean, I was probably like, I don't know, 11, 12, probably. I mean, she was probably like 16. And so I walked home. Oh man, yeah, not very long later, man, yeah, I got into some trouble. I mean, I feel like now looking back on it, it's super funny, and I don't know about what my parents' reactions were, but yeah, I remember I got in trouble. Like she was like lock me in the bathrooms, and my grandma would like come get me out because my grandma loved me. and it just was she was cruel. So, but yeah, I was in her wedding and she wanted like her whole bridal party to give speeches. And
Oh,
I elected
ooh,
not to because I was like, I feel like I
don't
would
blame
just like
you.
tell like bad stories. I would have definitely told that story and it would have been a great story.
Here, here's the thing though, like with weddings anymore. See, sorry everyone, we're getting off topic. It's just how it's gonna be for this episode. I do apologize. Hopefully in the future it won't be so
Future
sporadic
episode, yes, we're just getting you
everywhere.
guys to know us. You know that we are very off topic.
Yes,
It will be much more organized, and we promise.
hopefully.
Okay, we promise.
Anyways, when I was probably, college, undergrad, all that fun stuff, I wanted to be in everyone's wedding. Now it's like,
Oh, not me.
God bless, I was not. And I'm happy that I've been in the weddings that I've been in, and I'm okay with not being in the ones that I have not been in.
Right. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know if it just goes back to like my like sexual orientation and like not wanting to be in weddings. I don't know. Like, there's just some part of me that just doesn't like look forward to it. I don't know. Like, and I was in my cousin's and like when she asked me, like I was like a bridesman, and I was like, oh my god, like I
Yes.
don't have to walk down with another dude, like because immediately that's gonna raise flags, and I
Mhm.
already knew that she told all her friends that I was gay, like whatever, and so I was already going into this like FML, right? Like why am I doing this to myself? But I love her, and this is what I'm gonna do. But then she had another friend that was in the wedding and he was a bridesmaid and then her husband had two sisters and they stood on his side. So I mean it was still awkward but like not as much. But
Right.
I just did not have a good experience. I don't know, like I'm just not one and maybe it's like the attention, like I don't know, but I just don't look forward to it and I'd rather just be like a personal attendant or
Yes.
just be there and support you and whatever you need. And that's kind of what I envision it looking like. And then I also think like when I get married, which hopefully it's before the Golden Bachelor gets married, but that's looking like it's not gonna happen. um, I like don't expect all of those friends that have got married and I was in their weddings like to like be in my wedding. Like I have my select few, of course, that I want my wedding, and if they decline, like they decline. But I feel
Yes.
like they will do it because they love me and things like that. But like when my best friend got married, we had talked about it. And I was just really honest with her. I was like, I just don't like feel comfortable. I don't really want to do it. And she was fine with it. Like in a way, I'm sure she was a little hurt, which I understand. But I was a personal attendant and I felt we always joked around that I was like the HBIC, like head bitch in charge. But I really wasn't because I'm not like super bossy. Like I wasn't like, all right, you go here, you go here. But she ended up getting married like during COVID. It was so tough. And like I just like love her so much and like empathize with her so much of making that tough decision because she really could have just like, we're gonna postpone it a year, but like you've already done all this planning. And so she was able to get married in the church, but she only could have like her immediate bridal party, and then she had like her parents and her husband's parents, like super small. You couldn't like walk in together, like we had to separate. Like, I mean, she'll remember this forever, and you typically do remember your wedding forever, but like during this experience, like, I mean, I kind of like get emotional just thinking about it now. And her reception she had at her house, and I mean, her house is great. Like, I'm so happy for her and the house that they got, and they've done great work to it. And she has like a really like nice yard set up, and so she like had it perfectly set up. And my sister does some event planning, and so her and I really kind of like helped out her of like, we'll set things up for you. She had great support, and it was a great ceremony, and I mean it was perfect for her. And I know she probably would want it a different way.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm just happy that she was able to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was tough, but I love just the part that I had in her wedding of just kind of just doing it in a way I felt comfortable and just being there and supporting her in any way that I could, whether it was like not talking to her at all or being with her. But we've been friends since ever, like diapers. Went to daycare together, we were in school together. So we've truly done it all. And she was the first person that I came out to.
Mhm.
Which like I knew I wanted it to be her, like when I did it, but at the same time, I never knew when I was going to do it. And it wasn't until I bought this sign, like this home decor sign. I love home decor. And I bought it and I just like was looking at it one day and I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is it. And I like wrote out this big like note on my iPhone, like probably 7 at the time. And I like wrote it out and I just like sent it to her. Like didn't give her heads up. I just like copied it into a text and sent it to her. And I was like, and I put my phone down and I was like shaking. I was like, all right, like my life is out here. Not that she was gonna go like broadcast it everywhere, but
Right, right.
it's out, it's out of me. Like, and I should share this more in the episode, I guess, but I will. But yeah, and it just was just great to have her support. And yeah, I just feel like everything just changes. And I think during that time, 2020 was a bitch, right? It really made us shift and really made us like really think about life. And I think the whole like vaccine mandate, like especially for healthcare workers, that was tough. The masking, all of that, which is a whole nother topic, and I don't really want to dig
Mhm.
into it because it kind of can be controversial, but
Yeah.
super tough, right? And I think those of I don't know how you want to say it, like those of them or them that got married during that time, like kudos to them. I'm so glad that they could navigate that and still get to hopefully have the wedding of their dreams. And you know, I'm just so happy for my friend. And now she has a baby. Well, she's not a baby anymore. She's like 2, and
A toddler now.
father, and she's gonna have another baby like in a month. Like, I just love it. Like, I love that all my friends are having babies. Like, I'm jealous, yeah, but I'm in no rush. I don't even know what I want in life like tomorrow. So it's probably best I don't have kids yet. But I love my friends' kids so much. And uh she came down and we play volleyball on Thursdays. And she came down last week with her daughter, and she was just like cheering for me, like yelling my name, and it's just cute, so cute. And yeah, so I love it. I'm just so glad that I can be close to my friends now. And then if I do depart in Nebraska or go somewhere else in Nebraska, like I can have that time. But yeah, I'm just talking about my whole dang life, and I'm not gonna have anything
Yeah.
to talk about during these topics. But I feel like this has been a great like intro episode of just like sharing kind of
Yes.
visions for things. Like, as you know, we talk about lots of random stuff, but I think it's a good way for you guys as an audience to get to know us. And I know one of the episodes we want to do like a Q&A. So we have a Facebook page. So I think maybe we should do that soon, like put out a poll, or I don't know, put out something where people can ask questions on there, and then we'll do that as a podcast episode, or
Yeah, we could do
throw it in
that.
for one of the episodes maybe, because we're curious to kind of see what you guys want to kind of know or have questions about. They can be really any questions,
Or
but
even what we want to like what you want us to talk about, because we can always like research stuff too. One thing that we yes, one thing that we have talked about is that we will try to stay away from politics and religion. However, like some of those conversations, they might just kind of slip in to the conversation. But just keep in mind, like we're gonna try to stray away from those topics, just because we know how controversial it is. We also provide no judgment here. And just as a reminder, being human is hard. So
Right.
let's give ourselves grace and everyone else. Like forgiveness is a huge thing.
Right. Yeah. So with that being said, be mindful of the questions you ask as well. If you do ask a question that we feel like is not appropriate for us, or we feel like there is some judgment going on, we probably will not talk about it. So again, just be kind. And we want this to be a fun experience for us because this is something we both wanted to do for a long time, and it was super random. Caitlin just texted one day, just like asking how it was going, and she's like, "You'll never guess what I thought about." And I was like, "Oh boy, what do you think about?" And she's like, "I've been wanting to do a podcast." And I was like, "Shut the hell up!" Like, me too. I envision myself doing podcasts like full on like travel. I've also thought about doing like a travel vlog like on YouTube, but I don't travel as much. Like, people think I travel like every month, which I do have things coming up like every month coming up. But
And you just went to Texas, but
I just went to Texas. Yeah, I have like some Disney trips coming up. Like, so maybe I could, but I'm just not like, I just forget to do those types of things. Like, forget to like, oh, pull up my phone and record. Like, I forget to do those things. But when you have somebody else that wants to do like a podcast, have somebody else, like, I don't think I could do this by myself for sure.
just talking to yourself about your
Like I talk to myself enough, like, already.
yes.
And you guys know I talk a lot clearly now, but I feel like I already get off topic enough on my own. Like, it's good to have somebody else that can reel you back in. I think we really complement each other really well. So yeah, it was just a crazy thing how I was like, oh my god, we both want to do a podcast. Just join forces. So
Yes.
yeah, we want to give a shout out to Caitlin's friend Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah Powell with H plus H Creations LLC.
Heck yes. So that's another thing too. We are so grateful for all the support we've gotten so far. I think
Yes.
our Facebook page within like 24 hours had like over like 50 likes. And I mean, it's really hard for me to like count if I even know 50 people. Like, I mean, I
I
do.
was thinking it was gonna be like 10 to be
I
honest.
know
So I
that,
appreciate
right. Yeah, you
everyone.
guys rock. So as the podcast grows, help us grow it, right? Share our Facebook page. Our episodes will hopefully go live within a relatively good time frame after we record them. And yeah, we would just appreciate if you share them and just give us some support, if you're able to or would like to. And we definitely have some fun things planned.
Yes.
You
Give
know,
us feedback, give us suggestions.
that we also have talked on doing like a little like photo shoot, a
Yes.
podcast photo shoot. Like, who are we? I feel like we could be the Kardashians. I've always wanted to be a Kardashian. Have you
Kardashians of all people.
I mean, I know people think they're crazy, but like, come on, like, they're like one of the most popular or the most popular family ever. Maybe not
Yes.
ever, but reality family. Okay. And I've been like, I've watched them like ever since high school. Like, one of my good friends and I used to like be obsessed with it. We would watch it every Sunday was when their first like show, Keeping Up Kardashians, was on. We'd watch it together, everything. Yeah, like, I always just thought like I would just fit in well with them. But these photo shoots, yeah, if we might just have some fun things up our sleeve. But yeah,
Yes.
I think it's fun.
Yes.
I'm excited.
I agree. I'm excited too. And again, just thank you for everyone who has liked, share, continue to do that. I don't know if you could subscribe yet to like Spotify and YouTube and do all that fun stuff.
Hey, I know we have a YouTube page
Yes.
set up. The Spotify, it's very, I'm like still learning, right? That's kind of been my role so far, but Caitlin's gonna jump on that with me. It's different, right? I feel like we have to kind of figure that piece out of what's it gonna display as and all that kind of fun stuff. So we will be sharing that soon. But if you want to see the video episodes, you will only be able to view those on Spotify. if you want to just listen to the audio, that will be available on all other platforms. But if you want to see our beautiful faces, you have to watch that on Spotify. So whatever your choice is, but remember, no judgment. So we are social workers. We do have bags on our eyes, and we appreciate the support.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. And we will talk with you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.